Hello everyone and welcome to another Genshin lore video. Today I'll be going over the lore of the Obsidian Codex artifact set. This set tells us about the origins of Natlan and how the dragons, humans, and Wayob all played a part. Also, this video does contain spoilers for the quests listed on screen now, so if you haven't done those, you have been warned. Anyways, let's move right on and get into the video. Thousands of years ago, the second who came arrived in Teyvat from beyond the firmament. With them, they brought a conflict that ravaged both the heavens and the earth, changing the world completely. Our story today starts soon after the end of this conflict, deep within the dark sea of Teyvat. Here, you could find an ancient kingdom of bishops who had been separated from the mainland due to the recent conflict. This kingdom was ruled by the Dragon King Shukodal, believed to be the Pyro sovereign of the time. The bishops enjoyed freedom under his rule, but not everything was perfect. It was said that the wisdom of fire had already been seized by the abyss, leaving only a living corpse behind. That living corpse was none other than Shukodal. Due to this, many of the dragons took to violence as the rule of law. Only one of them realized the folly of this route, instead casting their gaze towards the future. They were described as the one human dragon, the Sage of the Stolen Flame, Waxaklahun Uba Khan. Known as the wisest of dragons, he hoped to find salvation by sharing his knowledge with other races. As such, he stole a seed of phlogiston and left, setting out to find a land that had yet to know the touch of filth and decay. On his journey, the wisest of dragons traversed burning plains left in ruin by the recent conflict, before eventually reaching a rugged, untamed land. Walking through this land, he found hot springs and valleys that had been left untouched by the dragons. Despite all of these wonderful landmarks, nothing met his expectations. Eventually though, he would enter a deep and foggy valley. Once the fog dispersed, he found the incredible thing he was looking for, the most beloved creation of the heavenly principles, humans. Even though these humans had long lost their guidance and were now all alone, they remained strong and endured on their own. Seeing this, the wisest of dragons marveled at their tenacity, unity, and courage despite the situation they found themselves in. As such, he decided to grant them the knowledge of phlogiston that he had brought with him on his long journey. Still, he knew that this precious gift would come at a cost. While these barbarians would be civilized, it would also order their destinies and set their fates in stone. As for what this dragon brought to humanity, it was the profane path of evolution. With his great knowledge, he foresaw that this path would merge two species and bloodlines into one, allowing for a reborn civilization to rise in Natlan. Even so, he knew that the humans would have to work hard to walk this path, something that wouldn't be a problem for them. Soon, the very first human would make his way up to the floating landmass upon which the dragon lived. He was the brave and wise Chak, and he would be told the secrets of phlogiston and the prophecy of the future. The dragon told him that from his heirs shall one day come the savior of two worlds. It was said that this savior was destined to one day slay the overlord of fire and ascend to the oldest of thrones. After this, the dragon would pass on the secrets of phlogiston to Chak, allowing the plan to be set in motion. Returning to his tribe, Chak would teach his fellow tribespeople about fire and phlogiston, leading to new sprouts of civilization rising from the untamed wilderness. This civilization would continue to grow, but there was still one missing piece. According to legend, the wisest among dragons knew the answer to all questions in the mortal worlds. However, there were still two matters to which he had no answer: the end of the living and the homeward path of the dead. The dragon speculated that the gods of the Night Kingdom could be the answer, but they were not part of his plan. With no answer, he worried that his long-considered plan could be doomed to crumble. Many years would pass by, and the hero Chak would eventually be left alone. By this point, his tribe had scattered and had gone their separate ways. On the very last night of his life, he would climb to the peak of a high mountain to ignite the first flame. Upon doing so, he would call out, in hopes of reuniting with his former companions. To his surprise, he received a response from the god of the Night Realm. That same night, people all across the nation of Natlan seemed to hear voices from another world, voices from the Night Realm. The noises that they heard were the birth cries of the very first Wayob of the Night Kingdom. The Wayob were not part of the dragon's mighty plan, but still the path he had set did not deviate. The path of evolution would continue to be followed in Natlan, paving the way for a very unique nation. Additionally, the Wayob of the Night Kingdom would even help the people and guide them, becoming integral to Natlan's tribes. After careful selection and cultivation, the wisest of dragons realized that it was finally time for the savior of two worlds to rise. The prophecy mentioned earlier would finally come true, with the strongest amongst the humans becoming the legendary savior. Under his rule, all human tribes would be united in Natlan. The people would make a covenant and raise a banner of the blazing sun in his name. Soon after, they would march upon the ancient city of the dragons where the wisest of dragons had come from. On that day, Xuchotl would spit forth a flame that was said to stain the very sky with a bright red color. Even with his great power and control of flames, Xuchotl would be defeated by the savior of two worlds, and his power would be taken from him. Humans and dragons alike would bow before the new overlord of the two worlds, allowing the knowledge of countless years of civilization to be open to him from now on. As for who this savior was, he was the legendary hero known as Xbalanque. After defeating Xuchotl, he would ascend to become the very first Pyro Archon of Natlan. As we learned in Natlan's Archon quests, all Pyro Archons of Natlan have been human, and Xbalanque was no exception. After his ascension, he would borrow the power of the heavens, setting up the systems and rules of Natlan that allowed future mortals to ascend to Pyro Archonhood. In the eyes of the wisest of dragons, humans becoming the Pyro Archon of Natlan was the only way to stop the threat of the Abyss. He believed that neither the heavenly principles nor Nibelung would suffice against the Abyss alone, and only humanity could do so. With this system set up, humans could find their footing once more and fight back against the constant threat of the Abyss. As time went on, Pyro Archons would rise and fall across Natlan. At this moment, we know of 4 Pyro Archons, those being Xbalanque, Cochinina, Mirata, and Mavuika. Of course, many more have held the title, as humans aren't able to live for hundreds of years. Still, each of these Pyro Archons have taken a step forward in securing Natlan's future. Anyways, that's pretty much it for the lore of the origins of Natlan. The idea of multiple Pyro Archons is something I was hoping for before Natlan released, and I'm really excited to learn more about each of them. If you want more Natlan lore in the meantime though, I recommend my videos on the Cataclysm in Natlan, Natlan's Tyrannical King, the Mare Javari, and Tales of Teyvat. With that said, I would love to hear what other bits of lore you'd like me to cover in the comments below as well. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Sources and further readings are also in the description if you want to check them out. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll see you all in the next video.